Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to all our Campdrafting competitors. There are in fact 14 competitors tonight, and Jim Callanan will be having the pleasure of working together again with Jim this year and introducing you to the wonderful drafters we have here. Some are competing for the very first time, some have been here before, some have won the World Championship Camp Draft of the past as well. So it's just great to have you company tonight to watch Australia's own sport. And also a magnificent lineup of cattle down there that Jim will let you know about. The people that supply the cattle to us each year, they really do themselves so proud. And we thank them for that. And Jim, being in the stock and station agency business, he'll be smiling because cattle prices at least have risen a lot compared to what they have been in the past with the fall in the Australian dollar. So it's been wonderful for producers to see a little bit. I say a little bit because I was a primary producer myself. And I can assure you, it doesn't rain money, folks. All those city people, don't ever think the people on the land, it rains money. Could I just say to you all too that there's still a lot of people, not only right around Australia, that are still suffering the horrific drought. Even though you might hear about the cyclone in a certain part of Queensland or the Northern Territory, but there's many, many parts of Australia that are still suffering the horrific drought. Many people are doing it very, very tough out there. And please remember those people, you know, because they need your help so much. Because, you know, it's not easy on the land today. Well, Jim Callanan, I'm not sure, Jim, we might be, I know things aren't ready quite for the camp, but Jim, it's a great pleasure to be with you again, my friend, this year to present this magnificent event.
Okay, thank you very much, Angus Lane. And once again, it's a pleasure to be down here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show for 2015. And to catch up with all our good friends again. So we are about to get underway with round one of the World Championship Camp Draft for 2015.
And Jim, camp drafting began, we were just talking about that, and probably the history shows Glen Innes in New South Wales.
That's right, Angus. They're the first official camp draft held in the northern New England part of New South Wales in Glen Innes, and certainly come a long way since those early days, Angus.
It certainly has. I was reading once that the big prize money, the first big prize money was actually, in those days when it first began, was at actually Gayndah up in the citrus country. And then I believe Esk this year, I have the pleasure of going down and mate, they're celebrating 100 years this year since it all began, James.
Well, camp drafting and the association and the Australian Stock Horse Society, they've come a long, long way over the last few years, and it's just getting bigger and better. It's a great family sport, camp drafting, mums and dads and children, and it's just got bigger and bigger over the years, Angus.
And James, the Australian Stock Horse Society and the Australian Stock Horses are known for what? Being the what?
Well, they've been known as King of the One-Horse Sports, camp drafting, and King of the One-Horse Sports, polo cross and polo, etc. There, as you and I know, Angus, we've worked together with the Australian Stock Horse Nationals, etc. over quite a few years now, and they've always been king of the horse events, and they're the breed for every need.
I love the way you say that, James. The breed for every need.
But Angus, we can't have camp drafting without cattle, and before we get underway, it's a great pleasure to be able to thank the Packer family from Elliston Pastoral Company Proprietary Limited up at Elliston via Scone. So many thanks to the Packer family for the loan of the cattle again for the Tyrrell's World Championship Camp Draft, to the management up there, Robert Teague, Scott Mitchell and all the staff. They handpicked these steers and certainly looked after them, got them ready for the Royal Easter Show.
Thanks, Jim. And also, Jim, it's been wonderful to have a wine company involved for many years too, hasn't it?
That's right, Angus. So the winners and place getters, and they all get together, and no doubt they'll be having dinner tonight or any other night, or when you leave the show, always remember to sit down and have a lovely bottle of Tyrrell's. Thank
you, James. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight our first competitor will be making their way into the camp very soon, and that will be Neil Faint, affectionately known as Fainty. And he works at the TR Alex Sawyard's assistant and horse trainer of Texas Star Quarter Horses. And he was an open rider and the winner of many maidens and novice and open for camp drafts. He was in fact placed in 2010, was placed equal third in the Mort and Company Open at Paradise Lagoons, the richest camp draft in the world, where the late Graham Acton and Evan, his brother, and Graham Acton's wife Jenny and their son Tom and family just did a wonderful job for camp drafting and bringing the camp drafting to the world. Over 800 entries in the ACA Open Riders titles as well as Open Horse of the Year titles. And Neil continues, the established horse stud to increase the commercial cattle enterprise and purchase their own property. First time competing in the World Championship Camp Draft. We wish him well. He's riding a horse called Turner Stud Flirt and Turner Stud, side by Turner Stud Bobby, out of the dam Oakvale Park theme. So he'll be the first tonight, and that lovely victory known as Flirt, it foaled back in 2001. So a lovely grey mare. Flirty's grandsire was Kempton Park, it was Agile by Cecil Bruce. So there's certainly a lot of breeding there, James, going back to Riverley Ray, Tiger Ray and Radiant Bloodlines. Boy, that's got the lot.
Well, bred in the Purple Angus, and a lot more like the Australian stock horses here. They've got the points on the board. That's why they've been selected and invited to come here to compete at the Sydney Royal Easter Show for the World Championship Camp Draft. And it won't be too long. We'll be underway with round one.
James, just while we're here today, just explain to the people of Sydney, like in regard not only camp drafting, we talked about the cattle before, and prices have increased. You're a stock and station agent. That means so much to the producers, doesn't it?
It certainly does, Angus, and it's been some very, very tough years for the people on the land, and the cattle prices have come up over the last few months, and let's hope it continues. And for that to continue, it depends on what Mother Nature dishes out to us all. But let's hope that we get some good general rain statewide, nationwide, and those cattle prices continue to get a lot of people back up on their feet.
And the breed of the cattle we see being used tonight?
Yes, they're the Charolais Cross. The Charolais Cross steers, and once again, to the Packer family from Elliston Pastoral Company Proprietary Limited, many, many thanks, because without cattle, there is no camp drafting.
And ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, the Charolais were one of the first of the European breeds to come to Australia, and they like to be known as your pot of gold. But it's all set up. Neil Faint's in the camp, so it's down to Jim Cullen.
Okay, thank you, Angus. And our two judges for the World Championship Camp Draft. I'd like to introduce to you our judges for 2015, Mr. Dean Taylor from Murrundi, New South Wales, Mr. Stephen Wells from Gundawindi, Queensland. And we wish them well in their judging commitment here for the Royal Easter Show. So we're about to get underway, Angus, with round one. Our judges are ready, Dean Taylor and Stephen Wells, and our first competitor, he's about to go in to make his selection, and it will be Neil Faint from Tamworth riding Turner's Stud Flirt. So it's a left-hand course, Angus, a left-hand course. So out on it is out of a possible score of 26 in the camp. The left-hand course is 2 points for the first peg, 1 point for the second peg, and then there's two pegs close together in front of the members stand. That is what we refer to as the gate. You get another point for that. So the horsework is out of a possible score of 70 points. So 26 and 70 and 4 is a total of possible score of 100 points. We have two judges, so one judge might give 21 for cutout, the other might give 20. That'll be 20 and a half. So you see the half points come up. That's why it happens. So this is competitor number one, round one, World Championship Camp Draft 2015. This is Neil Faint from Tamworth, New South Wales, with Turner's Stud Flirt. And there goes the Australian stock whips from our judges there, Stephen Wells and Dean Taylor. And our first competitor out tonight, Neil Faint from Tamworth with Turner's Stud Flirt, will go out with a cutout score only. And our scores are coming through, and both judges have given 21 points for Neil Faint and Turner's Stud Flirt.
Well, Jim, our next competitor is Laurie Argue, and what a great drafter he's been. He's stock and station auctioneer. Laurie has competed at the ABCRA National Finals every year since he was 9 years of age. Placed fifth at the City World Championship Draft in 2013, third in 2014, and he just hopes to continue to get better and better. So he's riding a horse called Chameleon, or Camellia. It's side by Hostile, imported out of the dam Oaks, Berinia, and it's a lovely chestnut mare. Foaled back in 2005, a chestnut quarter horse mare by the imported stallion Hostile. So back to Jim.
Okay, competitor number two, Laurie Argue now from Kempsey on the mid-north coast, riding Carmelina. And Carmelina, the Chestnut Australian stock horse mare, and doing the great bit of work up the face of the camp, trying for the big points. And this is Carmelina, ridden by Laurie Argue, out now in the Spotless Arena, round one of the World Championship Camp Draft, and just cuts on the bottom side of the first peg. Now Carmelina comes right around to try and catch up on the Charolais cross here, around to try and get around the first peg. Now they're back on track, and Carmelina and Laurie Argue around the first peg. And can they catch the very fast motoring Charolais steer around the first peg? Now they get 2 points for the first peg. Now you'll do the quick changeover, looking for the extra point now to try and come around the second peg. Carmelina says, leave the footwork to me, you look after the peg. Now comes up around, now pushes the steer. Camp Drafting right up on the beast's shoulder. Laurie Argue with Carmelina. Now can they get around there? There goes the whistles. The time has run out, but give him a nice round of applause, Sydney, here at the Royal Easter Show. Laurie Argue riding Carmelina.
Well, gentlemen, our next competitor, number 3, will be Simon Harvey, and known as Simmy, a teacher at the Tokal College for the horse course. They've been camp drafting since she was 13 years of age, winner of the ABCRA Australian Ladies Rider, and Simone, titled 5 times in 2005, 2006, 2011, 2012, 2014. Runner-up in the ABCRA Lady Rider in 2007, 8 and 10. Riding Freckles Ivory, and side by Chevin Ivory. Out of the dam is Polished Little Freckles. A lovely mare, foaled in 2007, a bay mare. Australian stock horse, cross quarter horse. So it's back to Jim.
Okay, a score now for Laurie Argue with Carmelina was 20.5 for cutout, 52.5 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 76 points. 76 points for Laurie Argue riding Carmelina. Number 3 now, this is Simone Harvey. She makes her debut here at the World Championship Camp Draft 2015, riding Freckles Ivory from Brandy Hill via Maitland, New South Wales. And Simone Harvey with Freckles Ivory, and around the first peg. She comes, and things are looking pretty good for Freckles Ivory and Simone Harvey. And Simone, although she said, I want to go around here again, and he heads away, and there goes the stock whips, and there'll be a cutout score there only for Simone Harvey with Freckles Ivory. But give her a nice round of applause and make her feel welcome for the 2015 Sydney Royal Easter Show.
And our next competitor, number 4, will be Gavin White. Gavin is a rural farm contractor. He's competed in camp drafting since the age of 8, competed at Sydney Royal Show 2010, 2014, 5th in 2014 in the World Championship Camp Draft. He's riding a horse called Vegas, signed by Acres Destiny out of Valentine. A lovely chestnut stallion, foaled in 2009 from a very well-performed family of quarter horses and stock horses. So it's back to Jim.
Okay, a cutout score there for Simone Harvey with Freckles Ivory was 22 points for cutout. 22 points for Freckles Ivory, ridden by Simone Harvey. Okay, we move on now to competitor number 4, round 1 of the World Championship Camp Draft. Gavin White from Dungowan via Tamworth with Vegas. And our cattle stewards, Pete and Dave Kelly, put everything away and been involved with the Royal Easter Show for many, many years, the Kelly family. Okay, now Gavin White with Vegas car brings the beast right up to the face of the camp. He's going for the big points. He does 1, 3, 4, and he calls for the gate. He steps out into the Spotless Arena, and things are looking pretty good for Vegas and Gavin White. And he says, I'll just go out here, and the steer runs on for him as well. He sits down, and will he come around the bottom side? And look at Vegas, says, just leave the footwork to me. You just try and, can he push him up? Gets right around there now, pushes the beast up around the second peg. Things are looking pretty good here now for Vegas and Gavin White. He's got 2 out of 4. He's looking to make it 3 out of 4. Things are looking good. Gavin White from Dungowan, New South Wales. Come on, girls and boys, mums and dads. Can he do it? Can he do it? Can he do it? Oh, yes, he does. It looks pretty good here, but it's in the hands of our judges, Dean Taylor and Stephen Wells. But it looks like a perfect run there for Gavin White with Vegas.
Well, our next competitor is LACHLAN Maxwell, known as Lockie, self-employed, started camp drafting at 17 years of age. Achievements include the ABCRA Northwest Open Rider 5 times, placed twice at the Warwick Gold Cup, the ABCRA Aggregate Open Horse National Final, competed at Sydney Royal 4 years straight, and he's riding a horse called Spookinator. It's known as Spook. It's side by Catskills out of Acres Destiny mare. A lovely bay gelding, foaled in 2007, Australian quarter horse, and is owned by his son Edward. He's a great quiet gelding, loves his tucker, and it's back to Jim.
Okay, a score now for Gavin White, riding Vegas, scored 21.5 for cutout, 60.5 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, and top points at this stage of 86 points. 86 points for Gavin White and Vegas. Calls for the gate now. This is Lockie Maxwell from Moonan Flat with Spookinator. And he's got himself a fast one, and the beast knows where he should be. And that's where everybody wants to be this afternoon, over in the members' stand. And there'll be, unfortunately, only a cutout score there only for Lockie Maxwell and Spookinator.
That's bad luck for Lockie. He's the Vice President of the ABCRA too. Huge sports fanatic. And our next competitor will be number 6. Our 6th competitor, Glenn Peterson. And Glenn, known as Sticks, he's a livestock buyer. Won and placed in a few drafts in Central West. Runner-up in the Open Rider ABCRA 2014. Like to be the best he can. He's riding Gibbs Witness. It's side by Doc's Witness. Out of the dam is CG's Tyler. Lovely Bay Gelding foaled in 2000. And Witness is out of a Captain Jack Mare by Doc's Witness. Back to Jim.
Score for Lucky Maxwell and Spookinator was a cutout score of 20 points. 20 points there for Spookinator, ridden by Lucky Maxwell. So we go on to out of number 6. This is Glenn Pedersen from Cowra in the southwestern part of New South Wales with Gibbs Witness. So Glenn Pedersen, he makes his debut here for the World Championship Camp Draft. He gets the nod from our judges. He's about to go in to make his selection of the Charolais steers. And once again, many thanks to the Packer family from Elliston Pastoral Company Proprietary Limited for the wonderful line of cattle for the World Championship Camp Draft, brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrells. And he brings the beast right up the front and going for the big points here. Glenn Pedersen from Cowra, New South Wales with Gibbs Witness, and he steps out into the spotless arena, and things are looking pretty good as he goes right up around the side there now of the Charolais steer, comes around the first peg. Now Gibbs Witness, now she comes around, she says, now we're ready to change over. He does the change over, the flying change. He comes around, he's going to tighten things up around the second peg. Now Glenn Pedersen with Gibbs Witness around the second peg they come. They've got 3 out of 4 for the course. Now come on, girls and boys, mums and dads, can they get him around? Can he turn the beast around? And look at Gibbs Witness, gets right around there and turns that beast around, heads in towards the gate, but things are getting a little, time's running out. Will he going to get there? It's like trying to catch the 6 o'clock train at 5 past, and there goes the whistle. That is time, and we'll come up with a score very shortly there for Glenn Pedersen with Gibbs Witness.
What a great... Come on, folks, put your hands together. Give Glenn a big round of applause as we welcome number 7, Cliff Lyon. He's a grazier, and he's riding a horse called Have a Go Ugly Betty. It's side by Stanton Stud Barrister out of the dam Rockstar. With a name like that, she'd be a rock star, all right. A bay mare, foaled in 2004, a stock horse mare. Won a few open drafts, and the latest being Newcastle's show draft 2 weeks ago, and it's back to Jim.
Okay, we have a score coming through now for Glenn Pedersen from Cowra with Gibbs Witness. And we have a score coming through of 21.5 for cutout, 56 for horsework, 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 80.5 points. 80.5 points there for Glenn Pedersen and Gibbs Witness. Okay, move on now to Cliff Lyon from Long Flat with Have a Go Ugly Betty. And here we go. Cliff Lyons with Have a Go Ugly Betty. He steps out into the spotless arena and he turns the Charolais steer heading around the first peg. And Have a Go Ugly Betty knows all about the World Championship Camp Draft, was one of the competitors here last year. And now they come around the first peg, they do the changeover. And he's going for the points on the second peg too and moves right around onto the beast here now. This is Camp Drafting here. And Have a Go Ugly Betty and Cliffy Lyons. Cliff Lyons now pushes the beast up between the pegs. Now come on, girls and boys, mums and dads, warm those hands up. Can he get it around? Ugly Betty turns the beast, and can they get there in time? Things are looking pretty good. Can he make it nice and straight? But there goes the time, and so there'll be a 3 out of 4 there for the course. Give you a nice round of applause there. Cliffy Lyons with Have a Go Ugly Betty.
And our next competitor is number 8 in the draw tonight, James Kite. He's a stockman. He's been camp drafting since 12 years of age, 1999, associate I think it's a Euro final, champion finals in the Warwick Gold Cup. Okay, winner of the Warwick Gold Cup. And that's his goal in life. Fashioned as a 3rd generation open horse by father, has owned and drafted her dam and grand dam. And the horse he's riding is Barragunda Oaks Fashion. It's side by Bronze Oak out of Barragunda Classic, and it's a black mare, foaled in 2001. Side by Doc Freckle Oak out of the dams by Crestwood Rivoli. All talk. Back to Jim.
Okay, score now for Cliff Lyons, Have a Go Ugly Betty. 20 for cutout, 58 for horsework. 3 course points, a total of 81. 8-1 for Cliff Lyons and Have a Go Ugly Betty. With James Keat now with Fashion, the lovely Australian stock horse mare. James Keat around the first peg, and the beast says, I'm just going to head over here now towards the Vincent Fairfax stand, and James has decided to give it away. But come up with a very nice first peg there, Fashion, ridden by James Keat, and unfortunately a cutout score only. And there's a cutout score there of 22 points for Fashion, ridden by James Keat.
Well, thanks, James. And we have our next competitor is, in fact, number 9. This is Wade Miles. Nickname is Pokey. He's a station hand. He's been campdrafting since he was 8 years of age. Winner of the 2014 Hunter's Zone ABCRA Most Successful Rider. 2014 Australian Champion ABCRA, the maiden horse of the year. Riding Green Vale Request. It's side by Adios Reflect, Out of the Dam Bates Review. A lovely black mare, foaled in 2001, and had great success in many camp drafts throughout New South Wales. So James, Gavin White sitting on 86 tonight, followed by Cliff Lyons, 81 and 80.5 for Glenn Peterson.
That's right, Angus, but here Wade Miles, he comes from Rookel via Aberdeen in the Hunter Valley, and he also won the open draft at the Muswellbrook Show last Friday, and he's been in very good form in the 2015 season, and he's been a very, very well-known competitor and on some very good horses. So Wade Miles from Rookel via Aberdeen in the Hunter Valley, he's about to make his selection. Round 1 of the World Championship Camp Draft, brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrells. So when you've got something to celebrate or you want to sit down and have a lovely meal, make sure you have that glass of Tyrrells. So Wade Miles, with request, makes his selection. And he's just waiting to get this Charolais cross steer. So Wade Miles now, the Australian stock horse, mare request. And the other steer just doesn't want to leave his mate here at the moment. So he's just waiting the time to step in to do the split. And he does so now. So Wade Miles goes to work now with request. Round 1 of the World Championship Camp Draft. He comes up to the face of the camp. He calls for the gate. And he steps out into the spotless arena and he heads towards the first peg. This is Wade Miles. He makes his debut at the 2015 Sydney Royal Easter Show. And the Charolais steer wants to get way over there, and he comes around now. He bends him out there fairly wide. Wade Miles and request. They're trying to line things up around the first peg, and the steer runs on around down by. He's trying to turn it back up now towards the first peg. And his beast comes in around the wrong side of the first peg, and there'll be a cutout there only for Wade Miles and request.
Well, while Jim's getting that, our next competitor will be number 10 out of the 14 competing tonight, Warwick Lawrence, and known as Laro, and a practical horse course teacher at Tokel Ag College. Camp drafting since he was 12 years of age. 2014 National Camp Draft Council Champion Rider. 2009 Most Successful Rider of the ABCRA. 2009 winner at Sydney Royal World Championship Draft. And the horse he's riding, Cedar Downs Mini Max, known as Mini, side by conductor out of the Dam Turlings Alpine. A lovely bay mare, foaled in 2003, Australian stock horse. Just a beautiful natured mare. And they also have Embryo by Conman due next season. Back to Jim.
Okay, and a cutout score there for Wade Miles with request, a cutout score of 21 points. 21 points for request, ridden by Wade Miles. Okay, we move on to number 10 in the draw. This is Warwick Lawrence from Rosebrook with Mini Max. Warwick Lawrence now with Mini Max, comes up to the face of the camp. He gets his Charolais cross steer off nice and clean. Goes for the big points up front now, opens the gate out into the spotless arena now. This is Mini Max with Warwick Lawrence, and now he goes right around and turn this beast around. And the Charolais cross steer, now will he run on there? Our Mini Max says, yes, leave the footwork to me. You look after the peg. And look here, this is camp drafting now. Mini Max takes over. Now he sits back, does the change. He's going to tighten things up on the second peg. Warwick Lawrence and Mini Max and the Charolais cross steer. They come around, and can they get it back up? And things are looking pretty good. And he's just drifted away and coming under the mare's neck. And there unfortunately only a cutout score there for Mini Max and Warwick Lawrence.
All right, gentlemen, so our next competitor is Alan Young from Bunga, a horse breeder trainer, been camp drafting since he's 15 years of age, competed at Sydney Royal Show 10 times, and 2009 ABCRA Open Rider runner-up, ABCRA National Final qualifier every year since their beginning, an ABCRA Hunter Zone champion, Open Rider 6 times, and his goal is to breed and train and improve his magnificent horses. Acres Liberty Bow is the horse he's riding, and it, in fact, is sired by Acres Destiny out of Jesse's Liberty Bell. A buckskin stallion sired back in 1998, dual registered, Australian quarter horse and Australian stock horse, very quiet and had enormous success, won 69 camp drafts, including 59 opens. Back to Jim.
And a cutout score there for Warwick Lawrence and Minimax was a cutout score of 20.5 points. 20.5 points for Minimax, ridden by Warwick Lawrence. Well, the well-known combination number 11 in the draw, round 1 of the World Championship Camp Draft, Alan Young from Aberdeen in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales with Acres Liberty Bow. Well, a very well-known combination. Won plenty of camp drafts over the years. And our lovely family horse too he is. The kids have won plenty of junior drafts and junior cutouts and juvenile drafts. As Alan makes his selection with Acres Liberty Bow, he brings the beast right up to the face of the camp. Number 11 in the draw. And another beast has snuck up the side fence and gone out with his cousin.
Right, James, I like the way you say that. James gone out with his cousin. Yes. Now, Jimmy, for the people of the city that are watching Camp Drafting tonight, just tell them a little about the steers that we see here and what age would they be?
Well, once again, Angus, yes, the cattle from Elliston Pastoral Company. They're the Charolais cross steers and magnificent line of steers, so they are very well handled. They're handled with horses all the time and the working dogs. And to the management and staff at Elliston, to Robert Teague and Scott Mitchell and all the staff there, and to the Packer family. They've been lending the cattle for the World Championship Camp Draft for many years here for the Royal Easter Show. And these steers, Angus, I suppose you're looking at somewhere in the vicinity of $750 to $800 per head. That's the way the cattle market's changed around in the last sort of 3 months, since the little bit of a change in the weather.
And also the drop in the Australian dollar's helped a little too, hasn't it?
That's right, Angus, the drop in the Australian dollar for the export cattle, and that's made them dearer as well.
And that's what a lot of people forget, that the dollar comes down and it really does improve things for our magnificent graziers and farming community, doesn't it?
That's right, Angus. So we'll just wait till we get these other two spent cattle put away. Now they come together, and our cattle stewards, Peter and Dave Kelly, and the Camp Draft competitors hop in and give a hand. So teamwork will make the plan work.
And James, up on the score, the people watching the Camp Draft, they can see the scores on the side of the big screen there and stay right up to date with what's happening. As you can see, we have Gavin White up there with a score of 86, currently leading still. So it's back down to Jim.
Okay, now the judge is about to give Alan Young the nod again to restart. Alan Young's about to make his selection with Acres Liberty Bow. And here he comes. Now, Acres Liberty Bow says, you leave the footwork to me. I'm on the dance floor. You just hang on. He calls for the gate and he's out in the spotless arena. This is Acres Liberty Bow with Alan Young, and around the first peg they come, and he's got a fairly fast one, but things are looking pretty good here. And look at Acres Liberty Bow says now, when are you ready to change over? And Alan says just now, and he says let me go and I'll go right up here, and he's going to tighten things up as a Charolais crossed here. He says come on, catch me if you can. Acres Liberty Bow says no worries at all. Alan Young, the anticipation looking pretty good. Girls and boys, mums and dads, warm them up. It's looking real good. Alan Young with Acres Liberty Bow. Give him a nice big round of applause. Round 1 of the World Championship Camp Draft, brought to you with the compliments of Tyrrell's.
Oh, what a wonderful round. Come on, Sydney. Come on, Australia. Put your hands together. What a great round. Our next competitor will be Nigel Cable, and he's a cattleman. He's been drafting for over 35 years. First drafted at Sydney Royal Show 30 years ago. His aim is to produce competitive horses for his 3 sons to compete on, for other competitors as well to compete. Ivory is the highest competition earning camp drafting horse in history. The horse you see in the camp now, Chevron Ivory, is sired by Lindsay, out of the dam, Chevron Ebony, a lovely black stallion. And ladies and gentlemen, it has won approximately over $260,000 in prize money and trophies. So that's about what Jimmy Cullinan gets paid every year. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Angus. And a score for Alan Young and Acres Liberty Bow was 16 for cutout, 63 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total of 83 points. 83 points for Acres Liberty Bow, ridden by Alan Young. Yes, and the horse, the Australian stock horse, moved into the Hall of Fame after the Stock Horse Nationals last year. This is Nigel Cable with Chevron Ivory. And look at Chevron Ivory. Here he comes around the first peg, round 1 of the World Championship Camp Draft. And Nigel says, come on, just sit back here. We'll do the changeover. They're going for the big points on the second peg. They've got 2 out of 4 for the moment for the course. He's looking to make it 3 out of 4. He comes back over. He does the crossover. Come on, boys and girls, mums and dad, Ken, Chevron Ivory, Nigel Cable. It's looking pretty good. Have a look at that, girls and boys, mums and dads. Have a look up on the big screen and see it all again. That was Chevron Ivory and Nigel Cable.
And that's why he's made $260,000 in prize money. Come on, folks, put your hands together for him. What a great run. Yeah. Well, number 13, Troy Palmer. He's a contract master, a horse trainer, competed at Sydney Royal for the last 15 years. Won the World Championship Draft in 2003 and 2013, placed 9 times, has won 17 ABCRA titles, including 4 open rider titles as well. And he's riding Impressive Destiny, and is sired by Acres Destiny out of the dam Binia Impressions, a magnificent black stallion, foaled in 2001, dual registered Australian stock horse and Australian quarter horse. And in fact, he covered 87 mares at start in 2014-2015 season. So, Jim, it's down to you.
Okay, and a score for Nigel Cable with Chevron Ivory was 22 for cutout, 62 for horsework, 4 out of 4 for the course, a total point of 88 points. 88 points for Chevron Ivory, ridden by Nigel Cable. We move on now to number 13 in the draw. This is Troy Palmer from Coolah, New South Wales, with Binia Impressive Destiny. Just made his selection. He just got another beast to come up and joined up here now again. So he's just waiting to get them separate. Number 13 in the draw. 1 more to go after Troy. Binia Impressive Destiny, the great Australian stock horse, and what a combination they've been. And still are. As Troy Palmer now calls for the gate, he steps out into the spotless arena with the Charolais cross steer. This is Binia Impressive Destiny with Troy Palmer aboard, and around the first peg they come, and things are looking pretty good here for Binia Impressive Destiny. Troy Palmer says we'll just sit, we'll just let the steer run on by, and he's going to try and tighten things up around the second peg. And Troy Palmer, the wonderful combination. Oh, look, Camp Drafting at his best. Look at Binia Impressive Destiny right up on the shoulder. Troy Palmer, he drives the steer towards the gate. Look here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Binia Impressive Destiny. Oh, and he just won't come off. But give him a nice big round of applause. Impressive Destiny, he was trying his heart out, but just couldn't push him between the 2 pegs to get 4 out of 4. And we'll have a score coming through for you very, very shortly.
Well, thanks, Jim. And ladies and gentlemen, our final competitor tonight is Mark Palmer. He's the 14th competitor tonight. Mark's known as Digger. He's a horse trainer. He's competed at Sydney Royal in radio and camp drafting. He won the family draft at Sydney on 4 occasions, 2005, 2012, 2014, the World Championship draft. 3rd generation draft of the Sydney that has won the draft. He's riding El Conde. He is sired by Common out of Brazzelli, a lovely chestnut stallion. Brazzelli's mother won 2005 championship. Brazzelli's grandmother won drafts 7 times. Lovely nature, a beautiful horse, and we wish them well. And it's back down to James.
Okay, now score for Troy Palmer with Binia Impressive Destiny was 16 for cutout, 59.5 for horsework. 3 out of 4 for the course, a total of 78.5 points. 78.5 points. Okay, we're about to go now with the final competitor, winner of the 2014 World Championship Camp Draft, the wonderful combination of Mark Palmer from Quirindi, New South Wales, riding El Condo. And he makes his selection. And El Condo, the Australian stock horse stallion, Mark Palmer, brings the beast up the face of the camp. And our two camp draft judges, Dean Taylor from Murrundi, New South Wales, Stephen Wells from Gundawindi, Queensland. This is the final compared to round one. Mark Palmer riding El Condo. And look at El Condo, sits right around and he beast just keeps sitting and sitting up. Comes back in around behind then. Look at El Condo, stretches out, says we'll just wrap him up and can we bring him back around? And he says yes, and look at the good work of the Australian stock horse. Now he says, can I just bring him back around down the bottom side? He says, I'll just keep trying. He says, I'll just sit off and let the steer run on a little. And El Condo and Mark Palmer, now they come around, they get 2 points. Now for the first peg. Now Mark Palmer, El Condo, are they going to tighten it up around for the second peg? Time must be starting to tick away. El Condo, there goes the whistle. So give him a nice round of applause. Things just didn't work out the way things were looking. But that was Mark Palmer with El Condo.
Well, come on, Australia. Give them a big, big round of applause. What magnificent camp drafting tonight. Yeah, sensational. And put your hands together for all the volunteers down there too that are helping tonight, and also the magnificent organisers of the Sydney Royal Easter Show here in the Spotless Arena. James, do you have a score? So Mark Palmer will have a score for you very soon. And could I just say how lovely it's been today to have Tim Driverman's mum, Sue West, here with us today. And it's been great to have Sue's been in there assisting in timekeeping. Great to see her. She's a delightful lady. And it's all the encouragement and support she's given young Tim over the years. And I know they're very close, so lovely to see you, Sue. And we just go down to Jim for a result.
Okay, a score for Mark Palmer with El Condo was 22 for cutout, 46.5 for horsework, 2 out of 4 for the course, a total of 70.5 points. 70.5 points for El Condo, ridden by Mark Palmer.
Well, James, that's great camp after you tonight.
Yes, kicked off round one. There's been some pretty impressive scores there, so Angus. So round one of the Tyrrell's World Championship camp draft. And we'll just catch up with Nigel Cable very, very shortly.
And James, if you want to drink after, where do you go to? What do you drink?
I'll be having a Tyrrell's tonight, Angus.
Tyrrell's wine, yes. Yeah. I thought you would be. Well, Nigel Cable, what an unbelievable round. And James, over $260,000 in prize money for that magnificent stallion. That's a lot of loot.
Angus, I just got our two camp draft judges here with me. Dean Taylor from Murrundi, New South Wales. Stephen Wells from Gundawindi, Queensland. Stephen, judging down at the Royal Easter Show 2015 must be a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, great honour, mate.
Pretty impressed with some of the runs you've seen so far. It's like camp drafting, a lot of luck's got a fair bit to play in it.
Yeah, a lot of good horses there, though.
And a wonderful line of cattle.
Yeah, beautiful line of cattle.
And you must be pretty privileged to get invited to come and judge here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Yeah, great honour, mate. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Dean Taylor, you must feel pretty privileged to, you're down here quite a few years ago, Dino, and been asked to come back to judge again.
Yeah, no, Jimmy, it's good to be back down here, and it's a very good privilege to come down.
And pretty impressed with some of the horses you've seen so far. Just a little bit of luck. Hasn't gone some of the competitors' way so far, but better luck. There's 5 more rounds to go, but some good horses there.
Yeah, I know you see some good camp drafting over the next few rounds, but yeah, certainly very good.
Okay, wish you both well for the remaining 5 series rounds for the World Championship camp draft. Thank you very much to Stephen Wells and Dean Taylor. Well, we've got a winner of round 1, Nigel Cable. Well, he's like a bottle of Tyrrell's wine, Nigel. He just keeps getting better and better with age.
Yeah, no, he still enjoys it, so whatever he does, we'll keep campaigning him.
Well, Nigel, you say that he keeps enjoying it. I suppose if he's enjoying it, he makes you keep enjoying it as well.
Yeah, people have been saying I might have to retire when he does, but the way he's going, I might have to retire first.
A great way to kick off round 1 of the World Championship camp draft.
Yeah, no, very happy. Thanks.
And once again, a wonderful line of cattle again. Many thanks to Elliston Pastoral Company.
Yeah, no, it's a credit to them to have cattle here looking in this condition and supplying them. Without the cattle, we've got nothing to draft, so very good to all the cattle donors and the sponsors.
Well, all the best for the remaining 5 rounds, and also all the best to the other competitors as well, because I know you're one big happy family of the camp draft competitors.
That's right. Thanks, Jimmy. You'll go back and have a few quiet ones. Tyrrells.
Okay, thank you, Nigel. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Angus Lane.
Thanks very much, Jimmy Cullen. And Jim, you make sure that Dean Taylor, that judge down there, gives you a bonus because, yes, he owns a stock and station agency that Jim works for up at Scone, New South Wales. So thanks, Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, put your hands together. Come on, give these camp drafters a big round of applause. Come on, Sydney. Come on, Australia. It's Australia's own sport. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. And I know as they parade off around the arena, so it's congratulations to them as just leading there with a score of 88, Nigel Cable. What a magnificent stallion. 86 second, Gavin White tonight. And then we go down to, I think it was an 83 with Alan Young and Tim Drevman. Camp drafting, my friend.
What a great sport. What a great win. What a
it?
great run for the win there for Nigel. That was unbelievable. I was enthralled the whole time. I absolutely loved it. And, gee, James Cullen does a great job as well.
Young Jimmy.
Jimmy. I was going to say Jimmy, but I heard you call him James, so I went back to James. But
He answers anything, mate, but anyway. Actually, that's Jimmy just going out through the gate there, folks. Normally, we have to bring a milk carton along for him to stand on, but he's he's a great bloke. So it's been a pleasure to work with Jim Kellnan for many years now, as it is with Tim Drevman. So well done. Congratulations once again. Come on, Australia. Put your hands together. Give them a big round of applause. Our camp drafters in the World Championship camp draft tonight. And a very special thank you to Councillor Rob Vickery and all the wonderful people down there assisting. So, young Tim,
and
what have
also
we got coming
Tyrrell
up soon?
Wines as well.
Yes, lovely job.
Beautiful.
Yes, Sue West buys that for her son every night.
Well, we've got coming up, Angus Lane, the Sydney Royal Horse Show Police Ride. It's a musical ride here this evening. And this will be the first of 5 rides here for the 2015 Sydney Royal Easter Show. And it's one that I love to watch, the coordination of the band, the music and the horses and what they do. You keep an eye on them because they never sit still for a moment. They're constantly changing and they're going to be precision horse riding at the extreme.
Well, gentlemen, sit back, relax while we're waiting for that. Here's a special message from our sponsors in the Spotless Arena.